Hello and welcome to Basement Fodder, the only show whose hosts are 40-time WWE Tag Team Champions of the World on WWE 2K14.
2K14. We're really behind.
We're behind on that. We don't have an Xbox One. I'm Todd.
I'm Dave.
And we're here tonight, live in the Basement of Doom, to cover WWE Hell in the Cell.
And the Monday Night Raw immediately following.
And the Supergirl premiere. So, overall impressions of Hell in the Cell before we go match by match.
I liked it. I thought it was a really good, I would have to say, I kind of think I liked it better than Night of Champions.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I think it did a lot more.
But I think that overall it was a better show.
Yeah. So definitely one I was more excited about.
There was more, definitely more that I was more excited about. Though I like Night of Champions. We talked about this before, but I like Night of Champions because all the belts are on the line.
Yeah.
But Hell in the Cell, I like the fact that both cell matches this time actually made sense.
Yeah.
That they were in the cell, because a lot of times since they've started doing the Hell in a Cell as a pay-per-view, they haven't really put a lot of effort into making Hell in a Cell mean anything like it used to.
It's just a match.
But having the two cell matches be Bray Wyatt versus Roman Reigns and Undertaker versus Lesnar, it made total sense why both of them should be in the cell.
I could have seen them possibly doing the Kane and Seth Rollins one too, but I think 3 in a pay-per-view is too much.
Yeah, I think
it makes more sense. Yeah.
But overall, it was an excellent. I don't know about excellent, but it was a great show, I would say. I don't know if I would say excellent, but I would definitely say great. So it started off actually with the pre-show match, which we didn't get to see, but I saw a little bit of the highlight of, which was the trios match with Dolph Ziggler, Cesaro, and Neville versus Rusev, Sheamus, and King Barrett. A very internationally flavored match.
Yeah.
Except for Dolph Ziggler.
The Ohio guy. It's cool. America. You need to have America in there.
But Ziggler, Cesaro, and Neville won. I believe actually Cesaro got the win, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But from everything that
I thought it was Neville.
Was it Neville? It may well have been Neville.
I think he beat King Barrett. Because he pulled off the red arrow. And
I just
pinned him.
Pulled off the brown arrow.
Pulled off the Golgothan shit.
Well, it wouldn't be the show if I wasn't shitting.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, let's see. How many fucks do I give about this match? You know what? Not very many, because they did it again, basically, on Raw, except for with a different babyface team, and I couldn't possibly have cared less.
Yeah. What was it? The Dudley Boys and...
it was the Dudleys and the Ryback. And I was just like, oh, man. And it was a Fasty McForward.
They really are doing heavy into these 6-man tag matches recently.
They do.
I'm just okay, every once in a while they're cool, but there's no story with a 6-man tag match. Unfortunately, there's not a lot. Because, one, their roster's not that huge, so it's half the time it's a fuckaroo of just shove a bunch of people together and be like, oh, 6-man tag match. And it's okay.
But it is nice to see Cesaro and Neville and Ziggler get a win.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it wasn't actually on the pay-per-view, but it was, from all intents and purposes, what I've heard, a good pre-show match. Mm-hmm. The show actually started with the U.S. Open Challenge for the United States Championship. John Cena doing his Open Challenge gig that he does on Raw.
Yep. And
we got Zeb Coulter, who'd been out with injury for quite some time on a wheelie cart.
Which was hilarious. I was like, is he going to wrestle him? Really? All right.
And he brought out none other than Alberto Del Rio.
Yeah, which was the biggest shocker you could have. Yeah, I was like, man, those two hated each other. Mm-hmm. What the shit? But, I mean... It was what it was. It was interesting to see Alberto Del Rio come back, and he looks a lot better.
He's toned up, and he's gained some muscle, and it looks natural.
Yeah.
And they had a great match. It was about an 8-minute match. Not bad. As your atypical Cena match. These guys have wrestled each other a lot of times, and they have good ring chemistry.
And they've both gotten better at what they do. John is kind of picked up some more moves, learned to be a little bit more flexible in his matches. Yeah. Alberto, after doing the Independent and like Lucha Underground and stuff, has picked up like a lot more, I would say, a lot more of his lucha like heritage as far as like the culture and the a lot more moves, and he's still an amazing technician wrestler, but he picked up a lot more to kind of give him a little bit more of an edge, a little bit more of a flair, and the match was great. And go figure, who won? Alberto Del Rio.
Yeah. It's interesting to see them bring Del Rio back, especially considering the controversy surrounding him leaving.
Yeah.
With the racial epitaph scandal that happened with the backstage and everything. And I'm wondering, how enticing a deal they must have given him to come back, because he didn't need to come back.
No.
But he was doing extremely well independently.
Yeah, I think this is another showcasing of the passing of the torch, where it was like that happened towards the really back end, tail end of like the Vince era, and I think you're showcasing more now, like Triple H and Stephanie handling this and being like, hey, we're sorry about that happening, and we've taken these steps or we've done these things. And, I could see, Triple H talking to Alberto Del Rio and being like, hey, look, we're the ones running things now, and him being like, okay, I trust it more because you're actually, a wrestler and I mean, it's one thing to grow up around it, that's fine. Yeah. I don't take that away from Vince or anything like that. And I know he wrestled a few matches, but he doesn't know what it's like to do the every day of every year, pack up, wrestle, and stuff like that. Like Triple H and, does. And I mean, to a degree, Stephanie does too. I think she knows about it more than her dad, having, grown up with it, but also being with a wrestler.
Yeah.
So I think it is one of those, it kind of... It lends itself to a lot more trust. And I think, he knows, Triple H is a smart guy. I know he watches all the other wrestling stuff too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So he's seen where Alberto Del Rio was, and he, was like, hey, what can we do?
Yeah, and they're forever trying to get a piece of that Spanish market, and with Mysterio being gone for good, and with Sin Cara not really ever working out necessarily.
Because the problem with Sin Cara is, like, yeah, he's cool, but he has no face as far as, like, you can't promo him. Like, it's just... they're a great tag match.
Yeah, he works better in the context of the tag team.
I mean, they're...
with Kalisto.
Yeah, they're great. But it's like, you'd have to give them a manager. Yeah. You'd have to have a manager because they've got no voice.
The pairing of Del Rio and Coulter is a bit puzzling to me.
It is.
Del Rio doesn't need a manager. He talks fine.
He does.
More than fine, actually. He's actually a pretty damn good promo. And, their sort of viewpoints are weirdly, opposed in the past. But... they explain it more on Raw, and it's still kind of like, okay, I guess I get it, but I don't know. Like, I won't complain because I like to see Coulter, and listening to him talk is always fun, and he's a good manager, and I always like to see a good manager, too. There's not enough managers these days. I'm a fan of the era of wrestling with managers. So, we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, that's sadly one era that, like... it's kind of late 80s, early 90s, the era of the manager.
Giving him the U.S. title in the first night and letting him beat Cena, that means quite a bit for what they have in store for him. And then tonight on Raw, having him win again, and going over Neville, which of course Neville's not a top contender or anything like that, but it put him into a fatal 4-way match for the title, number one contendership. Yeah. So. Yeah, I think that they've got some steam on him, and they'll probably treat him pretty well this time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and the next match was actually for me is my highlight match of the whole thing, which is Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt, a Hell in a Cell match. And
this was probably the one I was looking forward to the most going in, and it didn't disappoint by any stretch.
Oh God, no.
It was a powerhouse. Clocking in at about 24 minutes, it was a powerhouse match.
Yeah.
These guys really have chemistry. They wrestle quite a few times now and have been wrestling for months, been feuding for months, and in tag matches and straight matches, whatever. And it made sense for this to be the final one.
Bray playing the mental games, Roman just answering it up with just pure unadulterated ass whooping.
Yeah.
And he basically said it. He's like, you're trapped in here with me.
It was a very plunderful match. There was chairs and Singapore canes and tables, multiple
Singapore canes.
Just
one of the most vicious endings with a Singapore cane I've ever seen. And it was really cool is because you got to see that dark side of Roman. You got to see that unhinged side of him.
Yeah.
Like, not a lot, just enough. Like, enough of that, like, you could go down the road and you could slowly work on that more. But it was like, man, when he brought out 2 Singapore canes, and immediately Bray was like, oh shit, and he literally just clacking them on the ground, like slowly stalked Bray Wyatt around and then proceeded to just beat the shit out of him, was just double whacking him, and then eventually put him together and double baseball batted and then conked him on the fucking head, split his head right open. Natural blood too, not even a cut, a fake cut, but I mean just beat the shit out of him. There was some fucking just heavy moves, man.
There's some insane table breaks. They did a spear off the apron and through a table that was just insane.
And I mean, it wasn't just regular table breaks. These were table decimations, because it was the first one, it busted into 3 pieces, and then the one after that, it was fucking 4 pieces, and then the next one was in 50 million fucking pieces. They obliterated these fucking tables.
Yeah.
It was damn good.
And multiple kickouts of finishers, multiple different getting out of finishers. Roman did an amazing counter to the Sister Abigail into a Superman punch that was insane. And it really just they took each other to the limit, and the Wyatt family was out of it completely. They didn't even come out.
It was just pure Bray's talent versus Roman's talent, and I mean, I think they've done a good job as both character wise and match wise bringing each other up, because they, like I said, for me it's the match of the night. It's the highlight.
Yeah, absolutely. And Roman, of course, wins with a Superman punch and a spear combination.
And that's set up. So Bray decided he wanted to take both of these Singapore canes and stick them in the side, in one of the ring corners,
vertically,
so they're sticking out. And he had beat the shit out of Roman, and basically was getting ready to slam Roman into it. Roman reverses, and then just Irish whips Bray face first into one of them. And I mean, you could tell it hit him fucking dead in the eye.
Yeah, and then a massive spear.
Yeah, and I mean, speared the shit out of him.
Right out of his boots, and then for the clean pin. And it was a decisive win and a decisive ending.
Yeah.
The next one was the New Day. Boy, I love the New Day versus the Dudleys, and you know what? This match was not as good as I had hoped. It was okay.
I really expected this to be something more.
There was a severely botched spot between Bubba and Devon. I don't know, they were on the wrong page or something, and it was supposed to be. I don't know what it was exactly supposed to be. It was supposed to be some sort of knee breaker combination, and Devon just missed his cue completely, and Bubba ended up dropping Kofi, and it just looked bad. And they looked confused. And it didn't do well. And then it was just kind of a fuck finish, which, it was a creative fuck finish. It was basically Xavier's not there because he got hurt when the Dudleys put him through a table. And so they had his broken trombone there.
That was creative. That was
and Kofi got in the ring and he threw the trombone to Bubba. Bubba caught it and Kofi went down as if he were hit by the old Eddie Guerrero bait and switch, lie, cheat, and steal. But the ref said, no, fuck that, and didn't believe it.
Because the audience was going ape shit. They were like, fuck no.
And so Bubba went after Kofi, and Big E nailed Devon and got him out of there. and then nailed Bubba with a shot from the trombone when the ref wasn't looking, and then they got the 1, 2, 3 on them to retain the tag titles. And hopefully that means that at Survivor Series the Dudleys will actually get the belts.
Hopefully, because man, God love the New Day. They're funny to watch, but I'm tired of them being the champions and stuff like that. It's just one of those things. But also too, it's like they've been doing a lot of these really horribly fuck finishes.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a flat match.
It was. I was really disappointed. I expected this to be a lot better, and it wasn't.
Then we had Charlotte and Nikki Bella. The rubber match for the Divas title. No other Divas allowed at ringside.
Which was nice. It was nice to see it just straight up match on match.
It wasn't a bad match. It wasn't. It was an above average women's match.
Yeah. Because I think these two are of the better caliber of the Divas and stuff like that. Charlotte's amazing, and Nikki has gotten better.
Nikki is serviceable and can be taken through a really good match.
Yeah.
So between the two of them, it ended up pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte won with a figure 8.
Yeah,
and it was a decent match.
She got busted open though. That was interesting.
She had her nose busted open. Yeah, at some point. It was a decent match. I don't know. I just don't give a shit. I hate to say this because I love women's wrestling. We've talked about this before. I love women's wrestling.
In other wrestling,
yeah.
WWE has not been able to capture what they lost when the likes of people like Trish Stratus, Victoria, fucking Beth Phoenix, Mickie James, all of them. It was just they never recovered because for a while there they had the Sissy Slap division, which was just a bunch of fucking skinny little fucking ditzy chicks fucking rolling around on the mat fucking slapping each other for this fucking pussy butterfly belt.
Yeah, this fucking butterfly vagina belt I can never get into, and I don't know. I just can't invest any fucks in this division right now. I mean, I know they're trying. They're trying hard, and I give them credit for trying. But I just can't want to care about it. Yeah. I mean, I hate to say it because some of these girls are really talented, but just not enough of them, and that's the problem. Every week on Raw, it's the same fucking match. It's it's the Bella team versus the PCB team, or it's the Bella team versus fucking
Sasha Banks
and the other losers or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just
these same 3 teams.
Yeah,
and the problem
is gives a shit.
Yeah, and the problem is I hate to say it, but PCB.
Yeah.
Because they are the best. It's you gave Sasha Banks, who is arguably the best out of that team, but then you gave her 2 fuck-ups.
Yeah.
Then you got the Bellas, and it's basically Nikki Bella, who's the best out of them, and you got her sister, who's okay, and then you got the other bitch who nobody fucking cares about. But then you have PCB, which is Paige, Charlotte and
Becky
Lynch, and they are all 3 fucking top contenders.
Yeah.
So it's
the worst thing they ever could have done with this Divas thing and make it a teams thing.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to be a division where there's multiple feuds going on at once, just like the men's division. It doesn't need to be this fucking stupid all the girls have to be on a team thing.
Yeah.
You're cheapening it.
And then they had the whole Paige thing. And then they brought back Natty. They brought back Natty
for about 40 seconds.
For 40 seconds, which I was excited to see her.
I was too.
And she was doing really good. And then they fucking she got jumped. Yeah. And now she's out again, and it's what the fuck? Seriously, stop this shit.
It's just I can't want to give a shit. I can't want to. Yeah, when you go every week and you have these repeated fucking 6-woman tags, no one gives a shit because you can't invest in anything and then they put the belt on Charlotte, and I love Charlotte, but she can't talk. I hate to say it.
Yeah, she needs some work in there.
And Nikki, no one gives a shit about Nikki because she was champion forever because she swoggles John Cena's dick. And no one cares about her getting another title shot because nobody wants her to be fucking champion again.
And they wanted to use her to fucking decimate AJ.
Yeah.
Record and shit because they were all pissed at that.
And then Paige with this shit about, is she turning? Is she not turning? And then, tonight on Raw, then she just turns completely after another pointless 6-woman match.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know. Like, if they go in the direction of Paige versus Charlotte and they really, you know, stay heavy into that and get away from these stupid multi-girl matches that don't need to happen, I might be able to invest a shit.
Yeah.
You know?
But the likelihood of that is going to be really low.
I just don't care, you know? So, I don't know. It is what it is, I guess. And you know, I give them credit for trying. But it's just not working.
No, they need to reinvent and like relook at like other companies' women's division and you know, do something about it.
The million throng of things that TNA you know, did wrong, but one of the few things that they did right was their knockouts division.
Yeah, the knockouts division was amazing, dude. If they could only get like a quarter of the knockouts, that would be amazing.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but. So that was kind of an also-run match. Of course, Charlotte retained, again, with the figure 8. And then we had Seth Rollins versus the Demon Kane.
Yes.
And if the Demon Kane lost, then Corporate Kane would be fired as his role of Director of Operations. What can I say about this match?
I mean, it is what
Kane's
it is.
wig is driving me insane.
Yeah, Kane's wig. As long as he doesn't fucking whip his hair. If he had just, like, left it, like...
But he can't not do it.
He can't not do it.
And it's like... You can see his actual hair underneath it, and everyone knows he doesn't have long hair.
Yeah.
There's no point to this fucking wig anymore.
Yeah.
Kane does not require long hair. Yeah. Just let him wear the mask.
I think it would be interesting. We talked about it. You said this. It would look more interesting if they just had the mask and the short hair. Like, you let Undertaker go short.
Yeah.
Like...
Although, I have to say, Undertaker's hair looks terrible.
Yeah, well...
It's, like, weird level of, like, not short, not long. And,
yeah, it's that in-between and stuff.
And it's very obviously dyed and very obviously very thin.
Yeah.
And it's like, he looked better when he decided to say fuck it and shave it.
Yeah.
Like, and he had that little mohawk or whatever. Like, I kind of preferred that because really...
Or the American Badass when he had the, like, short red hair and stuff. Yeah. But, I mean, it's just one of those things where it was like, okay, big guy beating up little agile guy. It was what it was. It was an okay match. I mean, it was a standard match. The thing that really kind of pissed me off, though, is they built this shit up so much as far as like, oh, if he loses, you know, Demon Kane loses, they're going to fucking shit can Corporate Kane. Nothing ever fucking came of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, he's fired, but nothing came out. The Authority didn't come out and shit can him.
Nope.
Nothing. There was no...
And there was no follow-up to it on Raw either.
Yeah, it was bullshit. I'm like,
we had stuff with Kane, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, but there was
had nothing to do with that.
Yeah. It was just kind of like one of those just big fucking like...
Oh, it happened.
Oh, he's fired. He knows he's fired now. I'm like, okay. You went through all the trouble to fucking go this storyline where he's kind of like fucking like Corporate Kane, super happy. Demon Kane, super angry. And then it's like...
funny.
It was funny. It was cool.
But it was like, okay, this is a mid-card kind of feud over your top title.
Yeah.
And this is why this is 6th on the card.
Yeah.
And not, you know, anywhere near a main event. Like
the fact that the match after it is Kevin Owens and Ryback for the Intercontinental? Like, seriously?
That was
shit. It was the worst one out of their matchups that they've had. Like,
this match was 5 minutes long. 5 minutes 35 seconds. I swear it seemed like it was 10 years long.
Yeah,
it was like it was never gonna end.
It was crap.
These guys have less than no charisma in the ring together. And separately, okay, you know what? Like, I've defended Kevin Owens a lot on this show because you don't like him.
No.
I hate to say it, but I'm turning the corner on Kevin. Like, I watched Kevin Owens, you know, back in the day, go to some amazing matches. And in NXT, he's done some amazing matches, too. Since he's come up to the main roster, he had that feud with Cena that was fantastic. Those were great matches.
And then it's gone
after
downhill.
That, nothing.
Yeah.
It's been the drizzling fucking shit.
It's been a lot of sloppy matches, a lot of fucking, like, you know, not selling the moves, a lot of, like, just horribly fuck finishes. Like, I swear to God, if I see this fucking muddled fuck around fucking, you know, pump fucking body slam shit, like, because it'll fucking come out of nowhere. He's getting his ass kicked, and he's just fucking like
pop-up powerbomb
out of nowhere. He's just fucking flopping around like he's fucking high on fucking whatever, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, boom! I do it, and it's like it seems like the number one person they fuck over besides Ryback with this is Cesaro.
Yeah, just
which is
over and over,
pissing
which is
me off.
bullshit because Cesaro is about 400,000 times better than Kevin Owens. I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of Kevin Owens fans out there, and I understand why you would be a fan of him, because before now he's been pretty damn awesome, but now he's been nothing but sloppy and uninteresting for the last few months. And if his belly gets any bigger, he's going to look like Vader. And I'm not talking about Vader in the cool time. I'm talking about Vader like now.
Yeah. Like, oh God, Vader.
Like, holy shit. Like, his gut is getting preponderous as fuck. Like, oh my God. Tonight was the worst fucking example of that, because they had him in there with Cesaro, and Cesaro was whipping his ass all over the fucking ring.
I mean, Cesaro did,
and his
some
shirt kept coming up,
stuff.
and like, man, when that shirt comes up, you can really see how ponderous his fucking belly is.
Farmer's tan.
And his fucking farmer's tan. Jesus Christ, man. You're on national television in high definition every week. Get a fucking normal tan, or just don't tan at all.
Yeah.
Don't have this bullshit fucking I hang my arm out the sleeve of the fucking car on the way there tan. Like, I don't know. This match was pointless. Yeah. No one gave a shit. This title should not be on him.
No.
I mean, I'm not saying Ryback is any kind of fucking ring tactician or anything like that, but put it on Cesaro, for fuck's sakes. Anybody else. I just can't care about Owens. He is basically single-handedly taken away all fucks I had about him with this performance he's had the last few months. It's literally just been, the fucks were just drained out of me. And I was one of the biggest proponents of him when he came up and faced Cena for the U.S. title and shit. I love that shit, but he has done nothing since then. I don't know if he got pissed that, he got kind of boned on that feud and whatever, or if he just stopped giving a fuck, but he just doesn't look like he cares in the ring, and he's sloppy as all fuck and flopping around like fucking Shamu, especially tonight against Cesaro. I'm sorry, Cesaro made him look bad.
Yeah.
And not by any fault of his.
I mean, Cesaro was like on it tonight. He was fucking doing some amazing. That fucking like second rope back spin, full spin uppercut was hands down one of the coolest fucking things I saw.
Yeah.
And it was like, you have such an amazing guy in Cesaro, and I mean, like, the fans fucking love him. And then, like, okay, that's fine. You had Kevin Owens beat him once, but it seems like they've had him beat him every fucking time. And it's like, this is bullshit. And it's always the same muddled fucking, like, bull pop-up fucking bullshit. And it's just like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah,
like, I just don't believe it's fucking physically possible.
Owens went from a guy that I enjoyed watching in the ring to a guy who is just some indie-rific, Bush League fat ass flopping around in there, poorly selling and sloppily executing poor moveset. And that's really unfortunate. I don't know how the fuck he went downhill so quick, but boy, he did.
Yeah, and his fucking promos, too, are really, awful. Like, awful and shit. Like, this fucking just dripping with arrogance fucking, like... And it's not even like a, this is hard because it's like, right now, they're having Kevin Owens do a really bad version of what Seth Rollins is doing with the title. Like, it's like he's like the subpar imitation of it and stuff, because he's all like... It's never a good thing when you have two champions that are both arrogant as fuck saying the same shit, because they're both claiming that, like, the best, fucking moments in the world of wrestling don't happen until they step into the ring. And it's like, okay, Rollins has been a part of some of the, like, really badass matches. Kevin has just fucked his way through these things. Yeah. And it's like...
I would say the sad thing is, before Hell in a Cell, Cena and, Cena was probably the most impressive champion, and coming out, the guy who beat Cena was the most impressive champion.
Yep, go real.
Because basically Seth Rollins was in a mid-card feud for the World Heavyweight title, which is fucked up.
The tag team match was crap.
The tag team match was shit.
Divas match was... Just a match. And that Intercontinental was the drizzling shit.
It was a joke. It was a fucking joke. It should have never made it on pay-per-view.
Yeah, it was crap.
This was basically a 3-match show.
Yeah.
This was, the Cena match, Bray and Roman, and the main event.
Yeah.
Which was Brock Lesnar
versus the Phenom.
The Undertaker.
The Phenom, baby.
Yes, in the Hell in the Cell.
Now, this This was the built-up end of the feud.
Yep.
Like, just, this was going to be the last time we were going to see these motherfuckers fight each other. And, you know, Brock had broke the streak. Now this was the last thing. This is, if you could take this from Undertaker, this is Taker's match.
Yeah.
This is the Hell in the Cell. The only other match I would say that has Undertaker just dripping all over it was the Buried Alive.
Buried Alive.
But they don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
But I mean, because it is a big production to do that.
No, yeah.
You know. But, yeah, so Hell in the Cell. And, man, they beat the shit out of each other.
Shit. They beat the fucking shit. Fines galore in this one because there was blood everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
From both of them. Brock obviously does not give a fuck about the no blading rule. Because, man, he took a corner post that was very obviously not to the head, and then he came away spurting from the top of his head.
Now, the eye shot, though, that was legit. That was legit because, man, that fucking, still makes me fucking cringe. But, I mean, these two, pound for pound, as far as in the wrestling world, are your best strikers.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And they showcased it. It was a fucking just a straight up stand up, beat the shit out of each other match.
Yeah, there was a great moment when, like, about midway through the match where, like, fucking Brock was on top of Taker and he just started raining down fucking gorilla punches on him that looked like it was the middle of a UFC match.
Yeah, I mean, it was ground and pound. He was just on him, beating the shit out of him.
I mean, he was just boom, 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 like a fucking silverback.
Stomping his ass.
Yeah, and I can tell you, Brock is impressive. Brock is impressive not only because of just his genetic freak nature size. The arms on this motherfucker, he's got so much reach, and his hands are just fucking enormous. And I don't know, just there is an air. I mean, you know, it's been said to death, but there is an air of legitimacy that he brings to the proceedings.
Yeah,
because he is a guy who's not only a multiple-time, you know, WWE champion, but a UFC champion as well,
and a wrestling, like college wrestling,
an NCAA champion as well. I mean, there is an air of legitimacy that he brings to the ring, and then having them in there against a guy like the Undertaker, who's, you know, royalty of professional wrestling.
Yeah,
it really does mean something. These guys trust each other. They work well together. Mm-hmm. They beat the shit out of each other. Yeah. Undertaker does not hold back with him, and he does not hold back with Taker. They beat the piss out of each other, and they take it to the limit every time. Mm-hmm. And this match was no exception.
Yeah, it was about clocked in at almost 20 minutes.
Yeah, almost 20 minutes.
Yep. Which is actually really good. I mean, considering Undertaker.
Yeah.
How, you know, like him getting up there in age.
Undertaker is no spring chicken. Mm-hmm. And
so a 20-minute Hell in the Cell match is really good.
The ending basically came when Brock started tearing the ring apart. Mm-hmm. He tore the canvas up, tore up the protective pads.
Where it's just the wood.
He took a choke slam onto the wood, and that was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
And they went for Undertaker went for a tombstone, but he couldn't get it. And Brock hit another. I think he hit 2 F5s on him on the wood. Yeah.
And he got it.
And he got him.
He beat him.
Yeah.
Like, it was clean. He beat the shit out of him, beat him and stuff. And you know what? And it was even one of those things where it was like, at the end of it, Undertaker acknowledged it. Yeah. Like, you got me. You beat me. You did it. And stuff like that. You know, like, it wasn't one of those, like... But, I mean, you can't say the Undertaker didn't fucking, like, royally fuck up Brock, too, because he did, because there was, like, closer towards the end where Brock had got the steel steps and was, like, trying to beat the shit out of him with those, and Undertaker was like, fuck you, hell no. And there was one where Undertaker was down, and Brock went to, like, go up and, like, smash the steps down on him, and Undertaker caught the steps with his feet and kicked him back up, and Brock went ass over tea kettle, and the thing was, the steps were over his head and end up fucking hitting the thing, but the second step came down and smacked fucking Brock, like, dead in the fucking eye, like, right above his eye, and it split him open, like, to the point
swelled up like a motherfucker.
It swelled up, and there was the one movement you saw where blood spurted out of that. Yeah, it was fucking, this was not one of those, like, you know, counted on, and Undertaker bled. Like, he fucking bled. Mm-hmm. So much to the point that...
Actually did a good spot with the bleeding, because now, like, nowadays when there's a lot of bleeding, the doctor will get in there, and the doctor got in and was checking on, was it Taker or was it... No, it was Brock. Because Brock was the one who was all bloody faced and
well,
shit.
he got in on Brock, then he went in to go check on Taker, and then Brock threw
the doctor fuck out of the ring.
Threw him the fuck out. And was like, yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, I mean, Brock wins clean, and that's the end of it. Mm-hmm. And it made sense, and Brock left with Heyman, and then the Undertaker laid there for a long time. Then he tried to do the sit-up, and he couldn't do it.
And I mean, the crowd was fucking
just
chanting,
screaming for him to do the setup, and then he finally got it.
Taker, you know, like they were like, "Thank you, Taker." Like it was just everything.
Bray Wyatt,
not even Bray Wyatt, just like the entire Wyatt family, like all four of the motherfuckers now showed up and surrounded the fucking cage. And man, Undertaker was ready. He was fucking in like what he had left. He had striker mode, and he tried, but man, fucking Luke Harper, Braun Strowman. Fucking Eric Rowan and fucking Bray Wyatt, all big boys.
Yep.
No, Undertaker got the shit beat out of him. Yeah, and then he got fucking carried out. They dragged him out of the ring and like literally almost like fucking
very like Jesus style.
Yeah, like almost, carried him out like, you know, it was the last rites, you know, heading to your doom. Fucking carried his ass out. And that was the end of fucking Hell in a Cell.
Yeah. It was a good show.
It was a good show.
It was a 3-match show.
Yeah. It was a 3-match, but those 3 matches were really great. Yeah. And like the reason why I say I liked this one a little bit more than the Night of Champions one is because this was Night of Champions plus 2 Hell in a Cell matches.
Yeah.
Like that was kind of the thing. It was kind of funny how that worked out, but it was really good. Then
yes, because technically all titles were defended again.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
you know, then cue into tonight's Raw, which was very interesting. It opened up with the Authority.
Yes, and Stephanie in her thigh-high boots and short mini skirt.
So
stiff as some dicks.
Oh, shit. Christ, Stephanie, man.
Stephanie, I love you, dream woman. And Seth came out to gloat. And I couldn't possibly care. And they announced that there would be a series of matches from all the winners of the matches at Hell in a Cell, except for Brock. And then the winners of those matches would go on to a fatal 4-way. I won't bother going match through match on Raw because we fast forwarded through a good chunk of it.
Yeah, because there was just a lot of me not giving a fuck.
Well, there was a ton of me not giving a fuck.
Yeah.
The highlights being that the fatal 4-way ended up being Ziggler, Kevin Owens, Alberto Del Rio, and Roman Reigns. And Roman Reigns wins.
Yep. And that was a really good fatal 4-way.
It was excellent.
Then there was Bray. Bray came out and was talking about, you know...
he cut a rocking chair promo.
Really good.
The 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse and how the Undertaker, he was eating the Undertaker's soul and it was gaining strength and he needed more.
And it was like an addiction and all that shit. And then...
Kane's pyro went off and he came out there to take on Bray and then the lights cut out and when they cut back on, all the Wyatts were there. And
Kane survived a little bit longer than Undertaker.
Well, it makes sense because he wasn't just in a Hell in a Cell with Brock Lesnar. So,
but they end up numbers-wise because that many big boys getting on him and doing the exact same thing,
taking him out, cross style, yeah.
But then when they came back from break, they'd actually went back to the like background area, and it was like super foggy, and they were dragging Kane now on the ground, and fucking Bray is singing "He's Got the Whole World in His Hands," and fucking they were dragging him into the fucking like the smoke and shit. It was very weird. It's like I like where this is building up to. This is interesting.
Very reminiscent of the Ministry stuff.
Yeah, the Ministry, like the stealing people away and fucking. But this one, it's supposedly like Bray is basically consuming their souls and like becoming stronger and shit. And it's like now you have both of the Brothers of Destruction. Who next?
Yeah, I'm a big Bray Wyatt fan. We talked about this before. There's just something about him that he really has something.
Yeah.
His promos are spot on. His delivery is really good.
Yeah.
His look is very unique. And just everything about him.
Good in ring.
He's great in the ring. He's crazy fast for a guy his size.
Yeah.
Very agile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And very resilient, too. He can do some of the crazy matches where he's just getting the shit beat out of him. I also like, too, that he alluded to where, like, Roman, you and I are going to dance again.
Yeah.
Like, we're not done. But,
I can say that about most of the Wyatt family, except for the only exception being Braun Strowman.
And that's just because he's
very green and fresh. But Harper and fucking Rowan are insanely quick and agile for guys their size.
Yeah.
And very, very good workers, both of them.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody in the family, barring the green guy, are very, very good.
Yeah.
And I like to listen to Bray Wyatt sit in the middle of the ring in his rocking chair with his hat on.
All right, stop.
Talking.
Stop.
Fuck you. I like that shit. It's awesome. Awesome.
No.
Awesome.
He's cool, but sometimes he can get a little bit on a rant. But it's building up to something interesting, especially because they were playing really heavy the commercials of like Survivor Series being the 25th anniversary of Undertaker, and even Bray talking about that. And it's like, okay, so what are you doing then? Because it's like they're building up for something interesting, and whatever it is, man, it's got to be a numbers game, because even if you bring back Taker and Kane, there's still not enough to take on the complete Wyatt family.
Yeah.
Because that's 4 very big boys. Because Kane stood toe-to-toe with Strowman when he got jumped, and Strowman was bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you got Strowman, who's the biggest. He may be green, but he's still the biggest. And you've got Harper and Rowan, and they're both equally sizable, but they're also fucking fast and agile as shit. And then you got Bray, who's the shortest, but he's kind of like poundage-wise and agility-wise the better of all of them.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are you going to bring to the table?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah, because both Kane and Undertaker are no spring chickens, so it's like,
you need some workers in there.
Yeah, but they've got to fit into this story. This is the other thing. You can't just throw some random fucks in here. You gotta like
Ambrose would make sense,
and maybe
Orton would make sense.
Orton would make sense too. But like they didn't play anything up with that though.
Well,
like,
Orton, I think, is still out. Like he's out again. I don't know if he's hurt or if he's like storyline hurt.
Yeah.
But
no, I think it's storyline. Like storyline, they jumped him again.
And then the only time Ambrose showed up in the show was to pep talk Roman before the Fatal 4-Way.
Like yeah. So I don't know. Like right now, it's very unclear as to like who or what is going to happen. And 2, it's like, okay, if this is like an addiction thing where he's like, he needs these like powerful, so who's next?
Show? Show maybe?
Show, but like,
no one gives a fuck about Show. I'm sorry, I love Show personally, but no one gives a fuck about Show.
Nobody gives a fuck. And that's the thing. He seems to be going for more of this like, to me, the next logical person is Sting.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
No, but I'm saying character-wise. It's like, because he's going for these, like, characters that are way larger than life and are a little bit more on the, like, supernatural, aspect. And it's like, honestly, they don't have that many of those guys anymore.
No, because most of the guys that were allied with Undertaker and Kane back in the old days are gone.
Yeah.
Viscera's dead. Midian's long since retired. The Acolytes are both long since retired.
Yeah.
There really isn't any of those guys that you would associate.
Kane, the Brood, Gangrel.
Christian's retired, guys. Edge is retired, Gangrel's out there somewhere, but nobody gives a shit about him anymore. I mean, that's...
Yeah, there's not really. Like I said, Sting is the other... Like, masked characters they don't really have. I mean, the only other people they have wearing masks are the 2 fucking Matador douches. And
they're gone now, I think. Because one turned on the other one, I think.
Yeah.
And no one gave a fuck.
Yeah, and then there's Sin Cara and Kalisto, and they're not
going to... zero sense.
Yeah, because it's like, there's no thing with that. So it's like, unless you're going to, like, debut somebody or something, I just don't know where this can go.
Just have to see where it goes, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I'm intrigued. They definitely have me intrigued. I just... Possibility-wise, I have no clue what the fuck's going to go down.
You want to talk about Cesaro and Kevin Owens?
Oh, God. I think we did, though.
We did a little bit. I guess we shouldn't go back into it.
Yeah.
We've already said that.
Yeah, we've already ripped into it. It's just...
Fucking Cesaro is so much more talented than he's pushed, and it's just bullshit.
Oh, okay. And we were
talking... a good match.
Yeah. And we were going to bring up the fact that, okay, like, so when did this, like, fucking... super kick.
The fucking super kickapalooza shit is driving me out of my fucking mind.
Yeah, that and like super palooza of fucking kicks and like these fucking sloppy messy fuck finishes are like becoming a thing that it just needs to stop.
Please, everyone, stop using super kicks. Like, seriously, they're not special if everyone does it.
Yeah.
Especially if you do it in multiple matches on the same fucking show.
Oh, yeah.
Multiple matches with different guys doing the same fucking super kicks, it doesn't mean anything anymore. You know who I blame for this shit? And you don't know these guys probably, but the Young Bucks are who I blame for this shit.
Yeah.
They're an independent tag team. They're guys that have been in TNA or whatever, but they're the fucking super kicker motherfuckers of the world. Yeah. They super kick constantly and shit. And ever since these guys existed, the WWE wanted them and they turned them down. And ever since then, this super kick shit started happening. Yeah. And they're like doing it to fucking make super kicks not special anymore.
Yeah. And it's like shitty too, because it's like it's a 50-50 shot with these super kicks, because man, I've seen a lot of these. Like Kevin Owens is horrible for these like sloppy fucking high thigh lower pelvic bone fucking like back fucking fancy kick shit. Like there's a lot of these. Alberto Del Rio kind of pulled off a crap ass like fucking they've been doing a lot of these, like, I kicked your legs out, and now I'm going to super kick you in the face. Yeah. And it's like, what the fuck?
From the same show, we had Ziggler doing super kicks. We had Alberto doing super kicks. We had Kevin Owens doing super kicks. Enough with the fucking super kick.
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels somewhere is pissing himself in anger. Like, just leave it the fuck alone. It's not special anymore.
And if you're not seeing super kicks, then you're seeing, like, one maybe Enziguri. Well, no, we had two, because now Alberto does it too.
Well, Alberto's been doing it in Enziguri forever.
But I mean, Kofi and Alberto now are the only ones that really do that. You've got Neville, which has the more like martial arts kicks to the sides. But I mean, other than that, it's like super kickapalooza.
Yeah, and it's making me.
You get super kicks, then you get super kicks. We all get super kicked to the fucking face, and it's annoying.
Yeah, it's becoming as commonplace as a chop or a fucking clothesline or something. And it's like it shouldn't be, because it should still be a finisher.
Yeah.
You know, Shawn made it a finisher. Lance Storm, had it as a finisher. These made sense.
Yeah.
Ziggler, okay, I don't mind Ziggler doing them,
because it's kind of
his shtick.
He sets it up. He starts, doing the kind of like a little tuning.
But it's kind of his shtick that he does Shawn moves, and it's kind of his shtick that he does like Billy Gunn moves or shit like that. Well, it's mostly Shawn moves, but
because he is the amalgam of those two.
Because he kind of is like Shawn and Billy Gunn had a baby, and like he does the Famouser, and the Famouser was the Rocker Dropper before, and so they're all basically Shawn moves because he loves Shawn, and at least that makes sense.
Yeah.
But the rest of these motherfuckers, Kevin Owens has no business doing super kicks. I'm sorry, just don't fucking do super kicks.
And even Ziggler has his own signature big finisher, like the super kick and the Famouser.
He's got the Famouser. He's got multiple finishers and shit. Like, I'm just so tired of like on the same show 4 matches involving multiple super kicks.
Yeah. No. Hell, in the Fatal 4-Way, you had like 2 guys that are known for the fucking like super kickapalooza fucking lineup. It was just like, Jesus, stop it.
Stop with the
Actually, no, 3. Because you had Alberto, Ziggler, and Owens. It was just like the only person that wasn't super kicking was Roman.
Well, and Seth uses them too.
Yeah, Seth does too.
It's just, okay, enough. We get it. You like super kicks. Like, for real. I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
You're killing a move that I like, and it's making me angry.
Yeah.
That's like if everybody went out there and did tombstone pile drivers. It wouldn't make any fucking sense.
Like, we all just start choke slamming.
Yeah, everybody choke slams everybody, whatever. Whatever.
It's
it's annoying, and I hate it.
Yeah. And that was Raw. Yeah. I mean...
an utterly missable show.
Yeah.
Other than Roman did some good stuff.
Oh yeah, Roman definitely did some good stuff. And I think storyline wise, they cleaned up some stuff, and they like moved some stuff along, which was good. And then that was wrestling for the night.
Yes.
And before all the wrestling, we watched the premiere of Supergirl.
Yes, we did.
On CBS. I had already seen it, and based off what I've seen, they didn't change anything. It was still the same thing, but I was okay because I liked it the first time, so I was happy to watch it again, and I liked it just as much as I did the first time. I enjoyed it. It was your first time watching it, and I'm sure you have some interesting feedback. You look like you were chewing it around.
I still am.
You're still kind of. What's your preliminary thing? Like,
I'm on the fence about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, there's parts of it I liked, and there's parts of it that I was just like, not so much.
Yeah.
Overall, it was a pretty decent show. The pacing was good. They got to the action quickly. It's definitely a Berlanti show. You can tell, from the tone and everything. It is tonally different from Arrow and Flash, but closer to Flash, I would say, but still a little bit more light. The effects were good.
Yep.
There were a lot of nice little Superman things in there, references, and one of the coolest things, of course, was seeing that her adoptive parents were Dean Cain and Helen Slater, which was really cool.
Yeah, it's like
to see Superman and Supergirl being Supergirl's parents.
Yeah, you're like,
very, very cool. Yeah, they didn't have any lines or anything, but I'm sure they'll probably show back up later on.
They're guest stars, so they'll pop back up.
So that was cool to see that.
Yeah.
I just don't know. Like, I'm not sold on her yet. Like, as far as the actress that plays her, I'm just not sold yet. She is kind of like, I'm just a girl sort of a thing, and that really just kind of is very off-putting to me.
I mean, but again, I tell everybody she also is a girl.
Yeah, but she's I don't know. She comes off as like one of those like Ally McBeal kind of girls from the 90s, and I just...
It's funny saying, because Ally McBeal is in the show.
Yeah, which it's just like pain. It's kind of like they understand the joke or something, but it shouldn't be a joke. Like, I don't know. Like, she is just kind of like, oh gosh and golly, I'm just a girl in a man's world, sort of weird shit that I just can't get into. But I don't know. Like, it is the first episode, so I'm not gonna hate it or anything like that. But I think she needs to get a little bit more of an, I don't know, personality.
I mean, like I said before, it makes complete sense. This is how she should be. And like starting out, this is how she should be. And then, if you understand the storyline, basically, she has a sister who's basically been telling her to hide who she is and to not basically be Superman. Like, don't do any of that because they'll come for you. So you've had a lot of people basically, kind of being like, just be normal, just be normal, just be normal, Yeah,
I think I mostly like everything but her.
Oh, the sister?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean everything but Supergirl. Like, I kind of liked all the elements except for her portrayal.
I like it because to me it's spot on.
I mean,
it's what it needs
when
to be.
she's actually in the costume, she's fine.
Yeah.
But
you don't like her as Karen, in the Clark form.
Yeah, because even then, she's not really even doing a very good job of that. She's just being a weird kind of half-assed imitation of Clark, and it's, I don't know.
I mean,
she's very like, I just wish I could get a date. I'm gonna go on a blind date and work out with just a girl, and I just can't do it.
And like I said, this is on point. This is how she should be, though.
I disagree with that completely. I like a stronger female character than that,
but okay. Again, this is where I say she's been raised up her whole life to don't be the hero, don't be the hero, don't be the hero, just be normal.
We don't know that. We only know that that's what her sister was telling her. We don't know how her parents raised her at all.
This is basically...
And only since she was a teenager, I mean, since she was 13, she was raised for her first 13 years on Krypton by
but also
Kryptonian parents who I know weren't telling her that.
Well, no, but she also said, like, her mission that she had, she doesn't have anymore. She didn't know what to do with her life, and the only people, like, she really cared about were kind of like, don't do this, just kind of be normal. And so she was trying to be normal.
Well, they never said that her parents said that at all. Her sister is the only one who expressed that. They never said that her parents said anything about it. They said that she made the decision to do that, to be normal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she probably wanted to, because, like, if she's like, if I'm not needed, because...
The weird thing is, though, it's very obvious that she doesn't want to from the beginning of it. Because she says that she wants to, but then every single action that she takes shows that she doesn't want to.
Well, I mean, it's like she wants to do that, like... be normal and fit in thing because, that's just, she's like, I have no mission, so why would I do this? But at the same time, she's the House of L, so naturally they desire to want to, like, help people. So it's basically mentality fighting, brain versus heart, basically.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, it makes sense, especially with like the dynamic of, at least the sisterly relationship, of how she grew up and what she's trying to do, and she hasn't made the choice to become a hero. She was just like, I'm just trying to live a normal life right now, because the one mission I had on this planet, I don't have anymore. He's old, and older, and he's a hero, so it's like,
Yeah.
As far as like my understanding of how the Berlanti mindset works and stuff, this is very on point. This is very...
See, I've seen the other shows too, and I don't see that same thing, because like the main characters in the other shows, Barry is a strong character, that makes sense, and it's a good acting.
Not in the first season. In the first season, there was a lot of like fuck up and stumbles.
Still good acting though.
Oh yeah,
that's the problem with it. Like her portrayal of Kara when she's not Supergirl is not very good acting.
I mean, I'm just going to disagree on that one, but that's
cool. I understand. Like, you like a different kind of female character than I do, too. You don't necessarily like a strong female character or generally give a shit about a strong female character and things, and I do.
I like the build-up to it.
You generally don't like female-driven stuff at all.
Oh, yeah, but I like where this is going because I know it's one of those, like, through being Supergirl, her Kara persona is going to become a lot stronger.
Hey, I hope so.
Just
what she starts off as is very off-putting.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. She started off, so I know it's going to change. That's not going to be, that's just the beginning, and most heroes.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, hopefully it moves away from this, like, I'm Ally McBeal 2015 thing. That'll be great if it does. I really hope it does, because there is potential there. There's a lot of cool backstory stuff going on. There's a lot of interesting, everything else about it I liked.
Yeah.
Just that very much was like the scenes where she's just being Kara were just like grating to get through. Everything else I really enjoyed.
Yeah. Huh? Like I said, I think it's on point. It's good. I liked it. I can't wait to see next episodes. It'll be good.
Yeah, I'm not disinterested in it. Like I said, like I'm excited to watch it again, and hopefully, she'll get less annoying. That'll be good. Hopefully they'll keep going with the stuff that's interesting about it.
Like I said, I think their character progression, if it goes where it's going, it should be still on point and work out. I said I'd like to see if they ever do a crossover, especially with Flash. I think it would be really interesting with the effects and like the tone. I think it would be fun to see.
Yeah, it would be good.
Those two flipping around and stuff.
As far as like how I think it's gonna do, I don't know, because again, it's CBS. And they don't have that strength of the CW behind them. And then also with CBS, your ratings have to be really, really high before they'll keep you on, especially with a show that has an effects budget like I'm sure theirs is.
Yeah.
So that is the only thing that makes me nervous about it, is the network choice.
Network choice. And it's going head-to-head against
Gotham.
At first, I was worried about that, but now I'm actually thinking that might play in their favor, because
Gotham's ratings have gone down.
And like their story has kind of like pissed off a lot of fans. So I mean,
now,
well, even like the ones that were like liked it in the beginning, the shit that's happened in the storyline from like season 1 to season 2 has pissed off people. So I mean, this could be an alternative, for some of them. I'm not saying all of them, because I mean, if you're boo-hooing, big on fucking Gotham, I don't think Supergirl's really going to be your alternative, but some of them probably could. So I don't know. We'll see.
Like, there was a lot there. There was a lot there that was good. I don't want to sound like I'm pissing on it or anything on it, because I'm really not. I enjoyed watching it from start to finish. The only problem was just the parts that I talked about.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like it was every single part of it. There was a couple scenes where she was just fine. And I don't think this girl is a bad actress at all. I just think it's the way it was written.
Yeah.
And I'm
not too worried about this
past that
because you were like this with Flash too. So
no, I love Flash from the first episode. I never had a complaint about Flash at all.
There was in the beginning you were like I really like it, but there were some things. So like there's
always going to be something in there.
Yeah, that's why I said I'm not worried about it because like there'll always be something, but then eventually once it.
But I will say though, if they don't progress and she stays this way, it will become more difficult for me to watch it.
Oh. I mean, hey, it just still means more shows.
This is what I'm saying. This is the thing, though. The Berlanti thing works well for me in some, but I didn't like Arrow either. And I still kind of don't.
Yeah.
I like some of the stuff that I've seen in the later seasons, but the first season I'm still going to say was shitty.
Yeah.
Flash is the best show they've done, top to bottom.
Yeah, I can't agree with that, but like. I get why you're saying it.
Mm-hmm.
Flash is good, but I mean, I think had they not done Arrow first, Flash wouldn't be nearly as good as it was.
I don't know. I can't say that because I didn't like Arrow at all. So if I was going on that, I wouldn't have even watched Flash.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They based a lot of things off of how they were going with Arrow, what was working for that.
Right, that's why Flash is a better show, because they've learned from the mistakes of Arrow.
Yeah, but for me, I don't know if I can say that, because there's still some things they've done with Flash that I'm like, oh, not that great. Iris West is probably their biggest.
But you know what? That happened, and then they quickly turned that off.
So far. I don't know how quick that's... So far, it's been like 2 episodes, and it's like, okay, she kind of seems, but wait till the first thing comes in where it's like bitch mode comes out, and then we'll see if it's switched. So far, they have not learned from Lana, and she is very much a Lana character.
Yeah.
And, I can kind of safely say that it never really happened as far as I'm concerned with Arrow. So
Arrow didn't really have a character like that, though.
Yeah, they did.
What?
Laurel?
Laurel wasn't that kind of person to start with, though. She wasn't that, side girlfriend kind of a character in the first. She was a strong character to start with.
And then Felicity.
Felicity was actually pretty, from what I saw of her in the beginning, started off being a pretty cool character. And
Felicity is a pretty cool character, and Iris was a pretty cool character, but then, she, basically kind of went full bitch mode and kind of never stopped.
Yeah.
And then, So, I mean, to me, Flash has its problems, too. I think another one, too, is, I don't know, for me, is Firestorm. I think it was way too soon. I think they kind of,
I don't think that was their fault.
I mean...
I think that's more that Robbie Amell got an offer to do X-Files.
Maybe. We don't even know if that was the case, though.
It seems that way from everything that we've heard.
I don't know. We'll see. But, I feel like this is one of those things where it could have been, utilized a little bit better. But other than that, I mean, it's still a really great show. I wouldn't say it's the best out of all of them.
I would definitely say that.
I still am more an Arrow fan.
Well, you would be, though. That's the thing. Arrow is more to your sensibility.
Even not its sensibility. I like it. To me, I think it was one of the better, groundbreaking ones. Flash is really good, and it definitely deserves, a solid second, but, I mean, it's personally a taste thing, and,
yeah, it's definitely a taste
also,
thing.
I've been watching both shows every episode, so, I mean, that is kind of one of those things where it's you gotta watch them all before you can make that claim.
Yeah, the thing is, for me, though, the reason that it ends up better is there's no point in Flash where I was like, yeah, I just can't care anymore, and Arrow did that 2 episodes in.
Yeah, but I mean,
I made it 6 episodes, and that was forcing myself.
Yeah, but I mean, you can be pretty fickle sometimes about that shit. If it has to play to a slim set to really kind of sometimes get you to be all right, I'm going to pay attention.
Any show has to be something that appeals or something that jumps out and makes me interested.
Well, I know, but I'm saying it can be a pretty slim setup sometimes. So I mean, that's one of those things. I even went back and gave fucking Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. a chance, and that was one of those things where it's like, I agree, I had to do the same thing. I had to, but that first season sucked ass because they didn't know what the fuck they were doing. Like,
I must say, I don't disagree with your issues with the Shield.
Yeah.
Shield definitely didn't find its place until the end of the first season and into the second season.
Yeah.
But I still never gave up on it, I guess because like there was still something about it that was compelling enough for me to care. Arrow just didn't have that for me. And I like DC more than I like Marvel.
Yeah, I guess.
I know you like Stephen Amell a lot, but I'm going to say Stephen Amell is very wooden. And I even like his guest spots on Flash, he's been very wooden. And I know it's part of the character.
Yeah.
But
again, I think this is one of those things where
he's too stiff for me.
Yeah, it's something you need to watch the rest of the show. Because like you're only seeing an aspect of the character. You're not seeing the whole thing. So, I mean,
you have to admit though, it's hard to watch anything where like you can't get into it. You can't force yourself to watch something.
I mean,
if you can't get into it, you can't get into it.
I mean, that's fine, but it's
just like saying we should go back and watch more of Gotham because maybe we didn't give it enough of a chance. I'm not going to go back and watch Gotham. And neither are you.
No, but I'm just saying, like, I'm not going to say, because I'm opting not to watch it, I'm not going to say all these other shows are better than it because I don't know. I just like them better.
I'm just saying it's the example to me where the formula has worked the best.
I mean, yeah, I would say it's about 85-90%. Like it's definitely, still has plenty of room to fix things and grow, but yeah, it's good. Like, and that's why I said for me, it's a solid second. But Arrow will always be first, just because I just it has more things that appeal to me, and
that's what I said. It plays to your sensibilities.
It plays to my sensibilities, but also Flash wouldn't be nearly as good had it not come first.
Well, any second show is going to say.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's easier to be like, this one found the formula. That's because Arrow was the one where they tested a lot of that stuff. They tested Barry out on Arrow before even because it had those episodes not done well, there would have been no Flash show.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is one of those things where, like I said, you kind of, before I could even make a judgment on it, you'd have to watch them all.
That would be very difficult for me to do.
Huh? It happens.
There's plenty of examples, especially in movies, too, where the sequel far outshines the original.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think that the Flash show has embraced being about superheroes much more than Arrow had in the beginning. Now, I know in the last few seasons that's changed.
Yeah.
And I applaud them for that, for sure.
Actually, about second season.
Yeah. And that's great. I'm glad that they did that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that paved the way, for what Flash. And I give it credit for paving the way. It wouldn't exist or whatever. But, yeah, they definitely didn't do that the first season, and that's a lot of what turned me off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, the wooden acting. But, I mean, I trust your judgment on shows, too. If you say it got better, I'm sure it did.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to convince you to get S.H.I.E.L.D. another shot. And, I have promised to watch it, and I will at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It has been very hard for me to try to go back to it because I had such a just no fucks experience with it.
Yeah.
But, I've seen some stuff from the last few seasons here and there and watched, bits and pieces of episodes, and I've liked what I've seen for the most part, so I'm sure, it's fine.
Yeah.
Supergirl, like I said, I hope that it does well. I have no confidence in CBS. It's very much the same thing I felt about Constantine when Constantine was out. I have more confidence in CBS than I did NBC.
Yeah, especially because Berlanti is connected with this one, which I don't believe Berlanti was connected.
He wasn't. The thing is, the ratings are going to have to start strong and stay strong, or CBS will immediately shake on it.
Yeah,
because they don't fuck around.
Yeah,
they've canceled shows that average 10 million viewers an episode. The stuff, Flash and Arrow are lucky if they get 3.
No.
And it is partially because it's CW, but like I don't know how a superhero show is going to do on a major network, because the last time there was a successful superhero show on a major network was Lois and Clark in the 90s.
Well, I don't know though, even because like if you've looked at like stuff about that, a lot of their shows now are not even hitting the ratings they used to. So I mean, and they've still kept those ones on. So I mean,
some of them yes, some of them no. There were shows that they've canceled just this past year that were averaging more than 10 million viewers.
Yeah. Well,
so, and I honestly don't see it getting those kind of numbers.
Yeah. Well, but it's also Berlanti, and I know he's smart about things, so I think he may have made a deal where it's like, I don't think he would have picked a network to go with if they were going to be super fickle and be like, yep, we're going to shit can it. He'd have been like, hey, this is how superhero shows work. They got to find their footing real quick. So
it just depends on how much they want to be in the business of doing a superhero show.
Yeah.
NBC gave Constantine a shot, but they really didn't seem to care all that much. Yeah. ABC has been solidly behind S.H.I.E.L.D., but it's also because Disney owns them.
Yeah, they have no choice.
And S.H.I.E.L.D.'s ratings have been not great.
Yeah.
They've been consistent, but not gangbusters. They average in the mid 3s to 4 million too. So, I don't know. There is an audience for superhero shows, obviously, but they seem to be in that range of 3 or 4 million viewers.
Well, the problem,
and if CBS is happy with that, which I don't see them being happy with that, and that's the problem.
Yeah. Well, the other problem too is like all their shows that they're like, oh, we boast like 10 millions and stuff like that, have also been around for seasons and have built up huge fan bases. So it's like, that's one thing.
Also, their demographic skews older as well. Like CW's demographic is much younger, and even ABC's demographic is much younger, but CBS's demographic skews towards the older.
And older people will watch a show when it comes out.
Yeah.
Like the time it shows up. Like they will be home to watch it. Younger people, DVR shows.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. CW, ABC, like all these things account for that.
Yeah.
Like they're like, hey, this is what the ratings are for this, but if you go in and add like DVR and all this other stuff, the ratings look a lot better.
Yeah.
And it's like, is this something that Berlanti can get across to them? Like, hey, this is to a younger demographic, so you're going to have to understand a lot of these people either work second shift jobs or out living their life, and they will watch this on their time. So it's...
Yeah.
Is that something they're willing to account for now? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. And that's the uncertainty behind it.
Yeah, sketchy thing. But
the only other thing I would say about Supergirl that I was I don't know, that I was iffy about was the whole I don't know, like
I know what you're about to say.
No, I'm not even going to say that. I know what you think I'm going to say, and I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say like the character in general I didn't care for that much was the Hank Henshaw character.
Yeah.
Hank Henshaw is an asshole, but like in the comics, he didn't start off being a complete and total asshole. He was more like that. Basically, he was kind of like the joke on Reed Richards and shit. And this Hank Henshaw is a very different version, for sure. And then the Jimmy Olsen is a very different thing too.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I know you expect me to talk about like my anger about randomly changing genders or randomly changing races and that does annoy the shit out of me. Yeah. I've talked that to death, so I'm not going to talk about it. It was done here again. And it doesn't matter as much in the case of Jimmy Olsen, but like looking at the character of Hank Henshaw, if you're trying to keep this similar to what happens in the comics, it really doesn't make any sense.
Which I don't think they are.
Yeah, so
I think
then that begs the question: why make it Hank Henshaw?
Well,
because he doesn't mean anything to the mythos of Supergirl whatsoever.
Yeah,
he's not even tangentially involved in the mythos of Supergirl.
I think maybe they have other plans, other plans for it. It's a name that people know, but it's enough of a storyline that you can do different things with.
Yeah,
I mean, I
like the idea of like they introduced this prison ship basically from the Phantom Zone that was pulled to Earth, and I like that idea a lot, and that gives them a lot to deal with. It gives them like a base of superhuman bad guys.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I like the aspect of using Kryptonian villains and other alien villains and stuff. And
because like with Flash, you had the fucking
right.
accelerator, so you have the metas. With Arrow, he has a lot of the, more, I would say, like Batman-esque bad guys, the more like non-powered.
Even if you go over to S.H.I.E.L.D., they've got like the Kree stuff going on.
Yeah.
And they've got the other.
So it's like they've
things.
all got their niche of bad guys, and they picked a really good one for Supergirl. Yes. It's very more like the cosmic alien stuff. And Hank Henshaw's character is very like alien phobic.
Yeah, it seems like they've taken the Sam Lane character and kind of morphed it into Hank Henshaw. Mm-hmm. Because he's very much like the general Sam Lane kind of character a lot. Like, he's basically like Sam Lane, but they call it Hank Henshaw and he's black. Yeah. Like, that's it.
I mean,
That's kind of what they've done. And that's cool, whatever. It's an interesting take on things. And, like, when she's Supergirl, she's great.
Yeah.
She comes off really well. The flying effects were good. Her effects with her heat vision were excellent. I love that. The fight scene was very good. The guy who they picked to play the bad guy of the week is Owain Yeoman from The Mentalist, and I'm a big fan of him.
He did a really good job.
He did a great job. Yeah, it was a very stupid character from the comics they made actually pretty cool.
Yeah, that axe was sweet.
And thankfully they never actually called him Lumberjack.
Yeah. A really good one.
Berlanti has a talent of making Mort villains into something cool.
Something cool, yeah. He's like, all right, let's take this, come on. Fucking Golden Glider.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just shit.
They've done this on Arrow and they've done it on Flash excellently, of taking these kind of half-assed Mort villains and turning them into something cool.
Yeah.
And they definitely did that this time. So, there's definitely some good stuff there. There's enough good stuff to where I'm still interested by the end of the show. And that's that's what matters. I have confidence that the people writing it know what they're doing, and that they'll, if given the chance by the network, they can make something good out of this. And then hopefully, and if, for some reason CBS decides they don't want to keep going with it at some point, then, hopefully Berlanti's got enough pull to, have CW try to get it. But I know they said they don't want another superhero show, but...
I mean, they let Constantine die.
Yeah, but that makes more sense, though. I mean, like, there really wasn't as much of an audience with that, and if there is audience with this, they could still want it.
Well, I mean, the problem is, though, because they've already got, like, iZombie is in there, and they've got the Legends of Tomorrow thing, so it's like, I don't know.
This is a show, though, that I could see other networks being interested in.
Yeah, because it is something more you can take to the family.
Yeah.
Whereas Constantine, even as the way they did it, was still a lot darker than...
Yeah, this is a more light thing. This is a thing that other networks would appeal. Fox could look at something like this. ABC could look at something like this.
Fox, but
FX could look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, any of these networks, other networks could look at it and see potential there. CBS is a very hard row to hoe.
Yeah. So... we'll see. And I think one thing that was really interesting, too, is also showcased was when they first came out, they were very, no on crossover.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they were very much like it's not going to happen. But since then, even before the show, aired tonight, that hard stance seemed to start crumbling, every so often. So, I don't know. We could see... possible crossover. Is that first it was a hell no, okay, we thought about it, maybe someday, possibly, it could possibly happen. So, I mean, we never know. You might see the Flash zooming in to National City and, I think that's how it would have to happen. It would have to be one of those, you'd have to bring that character over to their network, to their show.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they would be super, we'll be the first to come to yours.
Right.
They would want you to bring Flash over because Flash would bring its audience.
Yeah.
So...
the only tricky thing about doing a Supergirl show is, Superman is always the elephant in the room in a Supergirl show. And they handled it really well, but it's still kind of always there, And so they handled it well by showing him but not showing him.
Yeah.
And, talking about him but not talking about him.
He's always referred to very third-person-y. Yeah. He's the man behind the curtain type thing, which is cool. I think that's the best way you can go about it.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, and I'm rooting for it.
Yeah.
You know, even with the problems that I have, I'm very solidly rooting for it.
Yeah.
And I really want it to be good, and I want it to be something that lasts.
Yeah.
So, but I think that's going to wrap it up for this week. What do you think, sir? Yep. And we'll be back next week with more hijinks and shenanigans. Please check out the Todd Files this week. We have a brand new episode up with Greg Wright, PhD. Awesomeness. He talks about Wild Bullets, his awesome comic, and I'm sorry, he has a story on Unlawful Good, which is a really cool anthology book that Dirk Manning also has a story in, and a lot of other really awesome, talented people. And really interesting guy. We found that we both have a love of Universal Monsters and Abbott Costello, which is which was a lot of fun to talk about. And it's always interesting. The thing that I've loved the most about doing the Todd File so far is like finding out what I have in common with people that, just random things like that, like Universal Monsters or something like just a weird thing that, you wouldn't necessarily know about somebody unless you have a conversation with them. That's kind of a cool thing. Yeah. And it was a really, really cool opportunity to talk to him. And anytime I get to talk to a highly educated person like that, who's also in the comics business, it shows that very intelligent people and educated people write comics and make comics. There's a lot of us a lot of you guys out there. Most of the comic creators I know are college educated people. So it was a hell of a lot of fun, and I enjoyed doing it. So check that out. And we'll be back next week with more hijinks and shenanigans and arguments, I'm sure.
And super kicks!
And
super kick-a-palooza!
We're going to just start super kicking each other during the show. Just hear a lot of this. Super kicks.
That's going to end badly for like a lot of people.
If I tried to super kick, I would be like super kick my knee out of joint.
That's what I know. That's why I was like, it's going to end badly because you're going to try to go to super kick me, and I'm going to take 2 steps back and watch you just like, oh god, I broke something. Be like, damn,
my hip break and my knee pop out of joint.
I didn't have to super kick you. I just had to watch you try and super kick me. No, you're going to do the Kevin Owens super kick,
super kick to the nuts. Yeah, because I can't get any higher than that.
Thigh, like, ow. Fucker.
That's going to wrap it up for this week. From the basement, I'm Todd.
And I'm Super Kicking Dave.
Until next time, the basement door is super kick closed. You've been listening to a Basement of Doom production. To find out more about Basement of Doom Productions and all of its family of shows, please check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/basementfodder and on Twitter @basementfodder.